They tell you the end of a long union is a defeat. They whisper that solitude is a void, a chilling silence that echoes the failures of a life once shared. They expect you to shrink, to mourn, to yearn for what was, or frantically search for what's next, desperate to fill an emptiness they presume has become your constant companion. They pity you, they underestimate you, and it is precisely in that underestimation, in that quiet dismissal, that your true power begins to bloom. This world, with its incessant noise and its relentless pressure to pair, to belong, to be defined by a relationship, often misinterprets the woman who chooses to walk alone, or who finds herself on a solitary path after years of companionship. It sees a vacancy where there is, in fact, boundless space. It perceives a weakness where there is an unyielding strategic strength. The journey of strategic divorce, or the conscious embrace of solitude and maturity, is not about loneliness. It is about absolute, uncompromised sovereignty. It is about understanding that some bonds, no matter how cherished, can, over time, become gilded cages, however beautiful. To step away is not to fall. It is to rise, unburdened, ready to forge a new empire built entirely on your own terms. Consider the silence that follows the closing of a significant chapter. For many, it's a terrifying abyss, a stark reminder of what is no longer present. But for the woman of wisdom, for the strategist, this silence is not an absence. It is a profound presence. It is the raw material, the pristine canvas upon which you, and only you, will paint the next masterpiece of your life. This reclusion, often mislabeled as isolation, is, in truth, a forge. It is where the soft metal of compromise and emotional dependence is heated to an incandescent glow, then hammered into the resilient, gleaming steel of self-reliance. It is a training ground, stark and demanding, yet ultimately liberating. Here you shed the expectations of others, the unconscious concessions made to keep the peace, the subtle erosion of your own identity that occurs when you are perpetually mirroring another. Machiavelli, with his stark clarity, understood that a prince who relies entirely on fortune is ruined when fortune changes. He counseled that true strength lies in one's own forces. Translate this to your life. When you build your empire upon the shifting sands of another's affections, another's presence, another's validation, you are inherently vulnerable. But when you become your own primary source of strength, your own counsel, your own unwavering support, you become unshakable. The world, in its superficiality, often dismisses the singular woman, especially one who has navigated the complexities of life beyond 40. They see a vulnerability, a lack of protection, an easy target for their judgments or their pity. But what they fail to comprehend is the sheer, unadulterated freedom that this perceived isolation grants you. You are no longer tethered by obligation, no longer constrained by another's schedule, another's dreams, another's limitations. You are free to move, to think, to build, to dismantle, to create, all without needing to consult a single soul. This period of strategic reclusion allows for an unparalleled depth of self-discovery. When the constant hum of external demands and relational dynamics fades, the whispers of your authentic self finally have space to be heard. What have you truly desired, beyond what was convenient or acceptable for the partnership? What talents lay dormant, pushed aside by the necessities of shared life? What curiosities were stifled? This is the time to retrieve those fragments of yourself, to piece them back together into a whole, vibrant being. It is an excavation, a profound archaeological dig into the deepest strata of your soul. You are not just recovering, you are discovering a more potent, more refined version of yourself, one that was perhaps obscured by the benevolent shadows of shared existence. Imagine yourself as an exiled queen. Stripped of her court, her alliances, her crown, she is cast into the wilderness. The world believes her broken, defeated, irrelevant. They cease to monitor her, for what threat can a solitary woman pose? But it is precisely in that wilderness, away from the prying eyes and the limiting expectations of the kingdom, that she begins to rebuild. Not a kingdom of external power, but an empire of internal fortitude. She learns to rely on her own wit, her own discernment, her own resilience. She studies the terrain, understands its hidden resources, and meticulously, patiently constructs something entirely new, entirely her own. When she reemerges, if she chooses to reemerge, she is not the same queen they once knew. She is harder, wiser, more self-possessed, and far more dangerous to those who underestimated her. This is the power of strategic solitude. It renders you invisible to those who might seek to control or diminish you, while simultaneously sharpening your senses and amplifying your capabilities. Your focus shifts from external validation to internal mastery. You learn to discern the true nature of things, unclouded by romantic projection or the desire for approval. You become a connoisseur of your own time, your own energy, your own decisions. Every choice is deliberate, every action imbued with intention. There is no longer the unconscious draining of energy that comes from constant compromise, from negotiating desires, from managing another's emotional landscape. Your emotional sovereignty becomes absolute. Think of the value metaphor of a diamond. It is formed under immense pressure, in isolation deep within the earth. It is not created in the open air, nor through superficial processes. The initial perceived loss, the pressure of separation, the challenge of charting a new course alone. These are the forces that transform you. This pressure doesn't break you. It compacts you, purifies you, and brings to the surface an inner brilliance that might have remained hidden beneath the surface of a less challenging existence. You emerge not merely intact, but infinitely more precious, more resilient, and utterly magnificent in your singular strength. The psychology of constructive reclusion emphasizes that periods of intentional withdrawal are not merely restorative, but transformative. They are crucial for deep introspection, creative incubation, and the recalibration of one's values and priorities. Without the constant input and demands of relationships, the mind can wander freely, forge new neural pathways, and consolidate a sense of self that is robust and self-sustaining. This isn't about avoiding connection forever, but about building a foundation of self so solid that future connections can be chosen from a place of abundance, not lack, from desire, not need. You become an architect of your destiny, no longer a supporting character in someone else's narrative. The blueprints are entirely yours, the materials chosen with precision, the construction overseen with meticulous care. This path demands courage. It demands a willingness to confront your own shadow, to sit with discomfort, to trust your own counsel above all others. It requires a quiet defiance of societal narratives that insist a woman over 40 must be paired to be complete, validated, or happy. They will tell you that time is running out. They will warn you against the dangers of being alone. But you, in your newfound wisdom, understand that time, for you, is no longer a ticking clock of external accomplishments or relational milestones. It is a boundless expanse, a resource to be savored, invested, and utilized for your own grand designs. Every second is now an opportunity to build, to learn, to experience, untainted by external agendas, the elegance in silence, the power in not needing to explain, to justify, to defend. This is a hallmark of the woman who has truly embraced her solitary strength. When you are no longer seeking external approval, your actions speak for themselves. Your presence becomes more potent precisely because it is self-contained. You carry an aura of quiet authority, born from having navigated the crucible of self and emerged victorious. People will sense it. They will not understand it, and that is your strategic advantage. Let them speculate. Let them underestimate. While they are busy constructing narratives about your solitude, you are busy constructing your empire. This is not a path for the faint of heart, but for the woman who recognizes the immense value of her own time, her own energy, her own potential. It is a declaration of emotional sovereignty, a refusal to delegate your happiness or your identity to another. It is a recognition that the most profound and lasting relationship you will ever cultivate is the one you have with yourself. And when that relationship is rich, fulfilling, and unwavering, you become an unstoppable force. You become the woman who, having walked through the perceived emptiness, discovered it was merely a magnificent space awaiting her creative touch, a silence brimming with untold possibilities. If these truths resonate deep within your bones, if you feel the stirrings of this quiet revolution within you, this reclamation of self, then know this: you are not alone in your journey of walking alone. There is a silent legion of women, wise and unshakable, who understand the profound power of this path. We are building our empires in the quiet spaces, forging our strength in the solitude, and redefining what it means to live a life of uncompromising sovereignty. Join us. Become part of this pact of resistance against the narratives that seek to diminish you. Embrace the magnificent strategic power of walking your own path, fully, completely, and without apology. The future is unwritten, and you hold the pen.